Okay, so I'm at a steam boiler maintenance. Mike was here to replace the sight glass recently and signed him up to do a maintenance, so I'm just gonna go over everything that I do when I do a steam boiler maintenance. So the first thing I did is I made sure this drain worked, and after I knew it worked, I filled the boiler all the way to the top. You could see the sight glass. It's draining now, but I filled it all the way. And took a look inside of the heat exchanger to make sure we didn't have any water dripping and that our heat exchanger is not cracked. The boiler itself, after I drain it to like a rough level, I'll jump out TT to get it running. And I like to make sure that we have to make sure that the low water cutoff shuts the boiler down when it senses a low water condition. And after that, after a delay, the auto feeder should kick in and feed it. So right now I'm just gonna wait for that to happen. It's slow to drain, so I'm gonna bring some other tools down, like my vacuum and my combustion analyzer. And another thing that we always check for is to make sure our relief valve is good, and it is. It's a 15 psi steam boiler relief valve, because if that's too high, the boiler will overpressurize and it could explode. Okay, so I got that jumped out. Boiler's calling. Gas valve is open. And we'll make sure it turns off once the water level gets below the probe for the low water cutoff. And once that happens, we'll make sure that the auto feeder kicks on. And it just clicked off. So we know that the low water cutoff is shutting the burners down when there's a low water condition. And now we see if the auto feeder kicks on and feeds it, but there's going to be a delay for that. And I'm going to try to drain as much water out of the boiler as I can while I wait, because this hasn't been drained in quite a long time. And it did fill the boiler, so now with power off, I'm disconnecting the 2 lines from the pressure troll, and I'm going to screw the pressure troll out and make sure that the pigtail is clear. Okay, so here's the pigtail, which you could see is pretty plugged up on one side, so I'm going to blow through it into the bucket, and we'll see how dirty it is. Not very at all, but I'll put it into the water and rinse it off a little bit. So got it filled with water, just jiggle it around, and nothing. I'll blow through it. And I'll just keep doing that till the water runs clear in it. And it doesn't drip gross black or rusty water. Okay, so I got Teflon tape on the pigtail after cleaning it out. I reconnected everything. I kept it facing out this way because it's just a good angle to have it, to work on it from this position, this little doorway. And now with the boiler off, I'm going to take out my wires from my flame rollout switch and pull off this front panel. And one by one, remove my burners, but we leave the pilot burner in, because sometimes you let the pilot go out and it never lights again. And maybe it'll be just the thermocouple, maybe it'll be the gas valve. So leave the pilot burner in. You can see how dusty this all is, so this needs a good cleaning. And I'll brush these off and tab them out as well. clear out anything that might be on the inside. And then I'll vacuum around everything else. And with it nice and clean, and our burner tube's cleaned off, got all the dust removed, I'm gonna reassemble this, put the cover back on, hook up the roulette switch, and then I'll give the whole boiler a wipe down inside and out, keep everything shiny. Okay, so I just wiped everything off. I tried to remove as much of that rust staining as possible from that leak. And I got the inside nice and clean, outside nice and clean, front cover nice and clean. So we'll go ahead and we will turn it on. And once the vent damper opens fully, I will do combustion analysis after it burns for a little bit. Which I was charging it because it's nice to charge it. Here we are opening. Actually, it was closing because this was testing the water level. Now it's opening. And it'll kick on and fire up. Okay, it's a little tight, but I have my testo all the way up in there doing the combustion analysis. Once the readings settle out, I'll stop it and I'll print it. And we're making sure that it's burning cleanly, and more importantly, that it's burning safely. Okay, and there's the combustion analysis, 6.7 on O2, 8.02% on CO2, 0 parts per million of carbon monoxide, and a good negative draft. Valve tags are labeled. Tag here that we could fill out every time that we work on the boiler. And removing this jumper because you don't want to leave it jumped out, and they have permanent heat on. And boiler fill tag, good water level, and the boiler drain not dripping. So we're all set.